Welcome to EmpowerTalks. I am Taqi Heather. Today we have honored to host Nipun Mehta, a visionary leader and the founder of ServiceSpace, an organization dedicated to fostering kindness and selfless service. Recognized globally for his innovative approaches to social change, Nipun's journey from Silicon Valley to ignite a global movement rooted in compassion offers invaluable insights into purpose, mindfulness, and the power of small acts of generosity. Join us, we delve into his inspiring story. First of all, thank you for joining in for Empower Talks.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and you had a very good session. I really enjoyed a lot.
It was wonderful to be with so many people who resonate with kindness and compassion.
Great. So let me just start the podcast. And know that you have a flight at 2 o'clock, and we are recording it. This is at 12 o'clock, so you're a bit in a hurry. Okay, could you tell us about ServiceSpace and its mission?
ServiceSpace started in 1999. We started initially by building websites for other nonprofits, but using volunteers who wanted to just give and grow in generosity.
Yeah.
Since then, it has become an incubator of all kinds of other projects. Some of these projects are online, some of these projects are offline, some are online and offline. And it's just become a rather large ecosystem around the world. That of people who are moved by love, people who feel like they want to lead with relationships and not transactions.
And what is the inspiration behind it? Because this is a project where I would feel that was it a inner calling?
I mean, in a way, I grew up in the Silicon Valley, so there was a lot of creativity and enthusiasm and a lot of passion, but there was also a lot of greed. There was a lot of self-centeredness.
True.
And so I wondered if you can take some of those positive elements and align them for non-self-centered perspectives, non-self-centered value creation, and so we just tried it as an experiment. It was 4 of us. We walked into a homeless shelter and we said, look, you know how to help the homeless. We don't know how to do that. We were in our early 20s, just out of college. And we said, we just want to help. No strings attached, no brand, nothing. We said, we just want to help. And we helped them build a website. But what surprised us was that actually it changed us more than we were able to change them. As in, we might have been able to add some value there. But I think what really surprised us was how meaningful it was for us to give. So then we came back and we said, I would tell my friend, hey, Takri, this giving thing is not for when you get old, man. I think it's meaningful here and now. Let's practice it. So we would practice it. And then the more we did it, the more we wanted to do it. It's like your body releases all these dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin every time you give. So we were like, wow, this is like amazing. And then lots of people joined. It became a counterculture movement in the Silicon Valley. And and then at some point we were like, should we try to raise money and have staff and try to create big impact in the world? But then we said that would just become another organization. So we wanted that raw feeling you have, if 5 of us, we just did that, like 7 of us, we just made some chai, walked into a bus and said free chai for everyone, and when you do, there's a raw energy, and that is, I think, what we wanted to keep that. And so we decided to not institutionalize it. And it's been a remarkable process.
So I feel that getting these 5-6 people, it's very difficult to come on the same page. How did you manage it?
So actually, if your intention is clear and it is generosity based, kindness based, I think actually it's very simple. What complicates it is if I want credit for it, or if I, want to extract something from it, if I want to learn, even if I have some hidden agenda, then it's very hard for all our agendas to line up.
True.
Because you are doing it to feel good, someone else is doing it to build a resume, someone else is doing it to make some identity around it. Then it's hard. But if the rules of the game are such that there's just none of that, then I think if that's the shared agreement, cooperation comes very naturally. So even if you look after natural disasters, right? Immediately, if there's a natural disaster right here, right now, everybody would start helping. They're like, man, what difference does it make whether you get credit or I get credit? Just do it, But then as soon as like big organizations come in, it like drops productivity, sucks the heart out, and then it's like very mechanistic, very hierarchical.
Yeah.
And so our thinking was, can you retain that original vibe, and can you still be able to scale that kind of work in not just in size, but even in geographical locations and things. So what we did was we leveraged the internet for some of these organizing principles. So instead of having like 5 staff working 40 hours a week, we had 40 volunteers contributing 5 hours a week. And usually it would take a lot of overhead to manage 40 volunteers contributing 5 hours a week. But we used technology very creatively that allowed us to, actually have the capacity to be able to hold not just 40, but 400 and 4,000 and a lot more. Yeah. So it's been remarkable.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions to ask. A lot of questions, please. And I know that you are running short of time. You spoke about the Ahmedabad project in your guest lecture. Can you just throw a light on this?
So one of the projects that emerged maybe 10, 12 years into ServiceSpace is this project called Karma Kitchen.
Okay.
And the idea of Karma Kitchen, so maybe 10, 15 years into ServiceSpace, one of the projects that emerged was this project called Karma Kitchen. And the idea behind Karma Kitchen was that volunteers would take over a restaurant just for one day.
Yeah.
And then in this restaurant, the process would be that everyone would have like restaurant food, but at the end of the meal, your bill would read 0.
Oh.
It's 0 not because it's free, it's 0 because someone before you has paid for you and you are trusted to pay forward for people after you.
So nice.
So most people think that when you trust people's goodness, it will backfire, that people are fundamentally selfish. That's what everyone likes to believe, right? And we said that, look, if they're selfish, then this will shut down. We'll try it once. And if it doesn't work, it fails. That's fine. But not only did it succeed, it became the highest rated restaurant in the whole city of Berkeley where we started it. In India, we started it in Ahmedabad. And here, it was not just once a week. It was 7 days a week. It was continuing for more than 10 plus years, and now it's also still going on now.
In Ahmedabad?
In Ahmedabad.
Okay.
And it's called Seva Cafe. And the idea behind Seva Cafe is the same thing. You walk in, you have an amazing meal, and at the end of the meal, there is no price tag, and you then have to figure out what is something worth when you are not given a transactional price tag.
That's true.
Like, how much do you appreciate the person behind you? How much do you relate to the person that comes after you?
Sure.
And really at a systemic level, like you have to ask the question, how can you create a space in which people connect with gratitude?
True.
So if on your table, if you have we have this flipboard where you can write a note for people after you, and you can see what others before you on that table have said. All of a sudden you realize that, man, the world is not just me. Right? It's like someone before me, someone after me. It just sort of expands you. And in that expansion, there's a kind of gratitude.
True.
And you will pay forward, but actually you will carry that spirit of gratitude home.
True.
So why can we not have more such spaces? Like why does everything have to be so narrowly transactional? So we have been experimenting like that all over the place in different settings, not just restaurant settings, but to really add this twist to the dominant paradigm and say that, look, we can relate to each other in a much deeper way than just transactions.
Such a good thing you are doing it. So in a case, if our audience is inclined towards your project, so how can they be a part of this? Can you just tell the procedure?
Well, first of all, I would say go out and do a small act of kindness.
Okay.
That's the best way to be part of this, because it's not about being part of my movement or your movement, right? It's just being part of the movement of kindness, of love. And that starts with each one of us doing a small act of kindness wherever you are, right? You can have a conversation with the guard. Or the other day, day before yesterday, I was in Delhi. They gave me a bouquet. And at this event, and so I said, I opened up the bouquet and I said, everyone take a flower and go appreciate a stranger. Like, it's so much better than me having flowers in one vase. Like now each flower has its own story. Each flower is going out and like you might go to some, a bus driver and
Yeah.
say, really, thank you for doing this. And I've done that. And you ask those bus
Yeah.
drivers, you'd be like, how many people have done this? And they'll be like,
No,
I've been doing it
No.
40 years and not a single person has done this. And it's like, why not? So I would say start by doing an act of kindness. Second thing I would say, like, do it together in groups. Because that will energize you, that will regenerate you. So your energy will support mine, and mine will support somebody else, and collectively we are all stronger in that way. And one very nice practice is to do a 21-day challenge around it, right? Yeah. So for 21 days, every day, all of you agree to do one act, same act, and then you come back and you share stories, and it's very powerful. Then the third layer, I would say, like, start to think how you can replace wherever you are transactional. Instead of saying what's in it for me, just try to expand that view, the way Karma Kitchen invites you to do.
Yeah.
And then I think after that, then you can start to think, how do I bring this into systems? Right? Like, okay, you disrupt a restaurant and you say, okay, how can, but you could do that with, let's say you run an acupuncture clinic or a yoga clinic or something. You can say, instead of you paying what I'm charging you, someone else has paid for you, you now pay forward. What would you pay? And then you can go one step further and be like, don't just pay forward with financial capital. Include non-financial capital.
True.
Right? Like maybe you do silence, or maybe you build community, or
you
maybe
can pray for somebody.
Or you pray, prayer capital.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if I was suffering and you come in and you say, look, I don't know you, but I'm praying for you.
True.
Like you feel held. It's very powerful. So I would say go that full stack. And if along the way you need inspiration, go to servicespace.org, and it's many different portals, and see if something there might be a good resource for you.
Okay, so this is going to be my last question. I'm just assuring you. Okay, so this is the first time you came to Siliguri, and this is the first time you're coming to Inspire Knowledge Campus. So how was the interaction with the student, faculty members? How was the experience?
It was actually fantastic, because I made it a point to spend like half an hour with everyone, or with the students here. And I was asking them really hard questions. I was like, when you look out at the world, like, what confuses you? How do you, what is the culture here? Is it hard to relate to people who think differently? Does the institution support you? And everywhere, I think the students I spoke to were sharing really positive things about the culture of the place. Right? It's one thing to learn your core basics and then to get placement, and that's important. But how we do that is also important. And so it struck me that I think what all of you are doing here has a heart. And I think there is, even the wellness group that is being created here. It's so important, because we feel so disconnected. We are refreshing our phones 2,612 times a day. Why are we doing that? Because we feel disconnected with each other at a human level. So we think our phones will connect us, but they are not doing a good job of that. So instead of like escaping more and more into the metaverse, as they call it, how do we go deeper into the metaverse, right? Which is loving kindness. You and I together can have a very different relationship. So I sense that kind of a culture here, or at least the budding culture. And I sense that everyone here, like Sunita, they're really trying, which is fabulous.
I got spied from her. She's calling.
There you are.
Long life.
Yes.
Okay, so on this note, I would like to conclude, but I really like your suggestion. I really like your guest lecture, and I'm inspired.
Thank you so much.
My life has changed today.
I appreciate it. And let's keep doing good things together.
True. So on this note, I would like to end the podcast. In the next podcast, we'll meet some other guests. Till then, please take care of yourself. Goodbye.